So now I want to jump into OVT and talk through kind of where we are on OVT and what this means. So like Ben said, the OVT's got 9 sections or 10 sections. 5 of those are completed, and right now there's 2 sections that are under construction. That's the Spruce Pine to Lake James, and then our southern section from Rutherford to Chesney. And you know, this really started early on. We were approached by John Slaughter, and John works for the National Park Service, and he was gung-ho. I think John wanted to see Rutherford to Chesney on the heels of what Ben just described from Chesney to Kings Mountain. And I'll be honest with you, we had not formalized this conversation with our key partners. So this study incorporates both Rutherford County, Polk County, Upper Spartanburg County in South Carolina, and then there's some key landholders throughout this trail, being I guess the National Park Service, the Carolinas Conservancy, and then also Trine International Equestrian Center. And so as we were first approached, we've really been talking about our section, the southern section, for probably about 2 to 3 years, and meeting with key stakeholders throughout the process to really start from scratch, to kind of work through what you saw in that video. Some people had no clue what the Over Mountain Victory Trail was, didn't really understand what the key concepts were. I think some people were misunderstood about what the National Park Service intent was. And so really starting early on, 2 to 3 years ago, building those conversations, having those meetings, and being open to the fact that, you know, those partners weren't ready yet. The partners that we had at the time were willing to sit and listen at the table, but maybe they weren't ready from a funding standpoint to be a part of this, because it took all, I think at the end of the day, there was about 6 partners to help us fund this. Kind of working through that slowly, keeping that on their forefront, keeping those conversations open. And when it came to the point where we were chosen again to be in this planning process, those partners had the understanding. They knew it was something that we were working towards. It was something that they were working towards at that point, and they were able to fund those. So we were able to work with both nonprofit, for-profit, and governmental entities to come together and provide the funding from our side to partner with the National Park Service for this. So we just had our draft presentation of the plan. I'm excited about it. It calls for some really neat things through the town of Rutherfordton specifically that allow us to highlight what we're up to in 2020, and to leverage what our original trails plan was. So if you look all the way back to that rudimentary map at the beginning from a GIS level, we can look at where the town was and where we're going from here. I'll say, as we went through that process, and this master plan is what the town is looking for our Kiwanis Park. We were a recipient of a 2019 PARTF grant, so thank you, Judy, for that. And we are going to begin construction on this very soon. But as we were included in OVT and the National Park Service agenda for what they were working on, as a partner, we wanted to make sure that they were included on what we were working on. So I want to make sure that that's something that we highlight here too, is that as a local jurisdiction looking to do multi-jurisdictional planning, when you think about larger scale projects that go outside of your borders, of course you want to have those partners at the table. But if you have projects that are inside your borders that may not have impacts to your other partners, those partners provide strategic information to help you get your project going as well. And so, yes, this is on the OVT corridor, it's strategic to us, but we also wanted to make sure that we had partners from other projects, the town of Spindale, the OVT, Trine International Equestrian Center. We invited those partners to be a part of this master planning process. Even though it's just for us, a 5-acre kind of simplistic park, there were a lot of things that came out of their thought processes that helped us. But then at the end of the day, also helped us make a better park from their thoughts. And You can see that Trail to Victory Council Ring. That's something that's that plays right off of the OVT's vision and will help highlight this park along the OVT corridor. So that was critical because of the National Park Service being involved in that. And we're hopeful that also leads to funding down the road. But this will be under construction in 2020. And it's kind of the crucible to both the Purple Martin Greenway and the OVT as they come through town. Keep wanting to go the wrong way. So here's kind of a blow-up artist rendering of that council ring. And we envision a little bit more engraved detail about the OVT around the outside of the ring as well, to kind of be a kind of outdoor classroom, place where Ben will come and do some talks about the OVT, and as other stakeholders come and learn more about what happens there. The other part of this is it kind of created a legs for us to complete our Greenways master plan. So some of the recommendations that came out of the initial draft study were for us to link through our golf course and also our hospital project, our hospital, which is the gray area underneath where it says Rutherford. It allows us an opportunity to begin to close off loop trails on our original master plan. So I keep going back to that original rudimentary map. Having that was a kind of that guiding document. So I'd encourage everybody, as you think through what your goals and priorities are, you don't have to start with that master plan that's, you know, consultant driven. Start with your own individualistic plan that helps drive the rest of those documents as you begin to move forward. You can kind of see a little bit bigger here, closing in the Purple Martin on the right-hand side with the purple over to the left, which would be the orange corridor for the Overmountain Victory Trail, and kind of closing that loop that was shown on our trails master plan. The other thing that I want to talk about is don't just think about partnerships from a multi-jurisdictional standpoint from those from other communities or your county or other states or other governmental agencies. Think about those from a for-profit entity too. So one of the largest landowners and one of the landowners that has probably the largest impact in our region is the Tryon International Equestrian Center. And so we have formed relationships with them from day one about opportunities to partner. Now, they are about 12 miles away from us. They are in another county, but through those partnerships of keeping them continually informed, meeting with them on a regular basis, making sure that they feel welcomed, feel a part of the process, that their voice is heard, has allowed us to not only have them in the plan, to have them as a funder of the plan, and to have them at the table so that when the plan is finalized, you know, they're already thinking about ways to leverage this plan and leverage that trail through their property, which again furthers our ability to leverage the trail through the property owners between where our town limits end and where Tryon International property is too. So I say that as, you know, think through who those other folks are. We don't have large, you know, corporations in our town. So if you've got a large corporation and one of their key pieces is outdoor recreation, keep them as a part of the process. They may never contribute, but having their staff, having them engaged allows for these opportunities down the road for either financial contribution or just their leverage through other partnerships. So we've had other people in this plan and in our thermal belt plan that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Just those key conversations, whether there's funding or not, helps keep that process moving forward. One of the cool things that came out of our phase of the OVT was an economic impact analysis, and Ben can speak more of this. I don't know if this was something that the National Park Service just kind of wanted to see as that those planning projects progressed. But I will say from an economic impacts perspective, the firm that they had chosen to do this went through and kind of looked at the market, looked at what those impacts can be. And these statistics were key on keeping some of our political bodies in kind of a position where they were excited about the trail. So even though, you know, some of our political bodies may not contribute to this, having them excited about it to where they're able to be partners for for grants, be partners for seeking funding that may flow through them, but maybe not be their funding. These opportunities really kind of showed them and kept those boards excited about where we're going. This kind of talks about the market, talks about some visitor spending, and they were very conservative in kind of their penetration rate about that and kind of their capture of what some overnight spending would be and some day spending. So these kind of things engage the political bodies moreover than some of the plans. And so I would say if you have the opportunity, if you hire outside consultants to think through whatever your project may be, you may not think this is something that's important from the planning perspective, but from a political perspective, this helps those political bodies, one, defend what you're doing, and two, show the impact. Because at the end of the day, from our standpoint, you know, our board wanted to see, you know, kind of two things. One, improving the quality of life, and then improving the ability for us to attract visitors here to a destinational type experience. And obviously the resident is the big winner, because the resident gets the use of that trail or the use of that recreational facility, and gets some of the augmentation from outside visitors who are spending in our community. So this is kind of an overall impact analysis of the entire trail system from Rutherford to Chesnee, and obviously a portion of that would be here in Rutherford. But I would say that these 3 or 4 slides that were a part of this presentation were the ones that I saw county commissioners and town council members just latching onto, writing notes, asking for these. So these are the ones that really helped through that process. And obviously these are the benefits. So not only just talking about what the trail route was, but also talking about what the benefits of those could be.